Vice Chancellor Sir Mr. Sharad Pardiji is among one of the senior most dedicated volunteer of all World Gayatri Pariwar. He is the architect of this man-making university who has put his efforts in every brick and cement while making this university and Shantikunj Haridwar.
I would like to request our Vice Chancellor Sir for welcome address. Put your hands together to welcome Vice Chancellor Sir, Vedic Vishwavidyalaya, Sri Sharad Pardiji.
In the certain presence of Param Pujya Gurudev and Paramandariya Mataji, on the second day of 5th International Festival of Yoga, Culture and Spirituality, as yesterday the theme was set, I really appreciate the setting of the theme in the form of Swastha Sharir, sound body through yoga, Shuddha Man, pure mind with spirituality within, and Sabya Samaj, a gentle and ideal society, to live in through cultural activities. Today we have a galaxy of speakers from abroad, and they will give their opinion and then give their work, present their work, whatever they have done on this, and it will be a great light throwing on the activities of this university. And I'm sure that the students and all the other participants present in the auditorium will be great benefited. Without taking much of time, on behalf of this university and on behalf of you all, I welcome all the guests here on the dais and request them to proceed with the further proceedings. Thank you so much.
We also have with us Dr. Chinmay Pandya ji, Pro Vice Chancellor of Dev Sanskriti Vishwavidyalaya, who is also a promising volunteer of all World Gayatri Pariwar. He has devoted his life to bring our Param Pujya Gurudev's vision and mission into reality. He is the first person of this university to report to his office and the last one to leave. He is also a great hard worker, youth icon, and under his leadership, this dream of holisticity came to reality again as International Festival on Yoga, Culture and Spirituality 2015.
I request Dr. Chinmay Pandya sir to please come on dais for theme setting.
I would request everyone to start with the recitation of the Gayatri Mantra. Like we were saying yesterday, that the word Gayatri comes from two Sanskrit words. It comes from a Sanskrit word called Gayah. Gayah means pran, and he rise here. Gayah means pran. Trayah means tran. Tran means to protect. The power that protects the pran is called Gayatri. And in Sanskrit, this is a very unique mantra. Unique mantra because if you remember the Gayatri mantra, we say Tat Savitur Varinyam. And word Savita comes from a Sanskrit word called Prasava. Savita Sarvasya Prasavita. The one who gave birth to every being is Savita. And we are asking that power which has given birth to the full existence, that shows the light, Devasya. We are in a state of darkness, we don't know which path to take. हमको नहीं पता है कि सही रास्ता क्या है. Show us the path. And we are asking that we are full of impurities. हमारे अंदर बहुत सारी कमियां हो सकती हैं. Remove them. Bhargo. Burn them down. Remove anything impure that I might have. And with that feeling, we do the Gayatri Mantra. So we are asking everyone to do the Gayatri Mantra together with a feeling to show us the right path. With a feeling that let us collectively unite to remove any impurities that we might have, and with that feeling we would do this universal prayer of the Gayatri Mantra. कमर सीधी कर लें, भगवान सूर्य का, परमपिता परमेश्वर का ध्यान करें. ओम भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्. In the subtle presence of Puj Gurudev and Vandaniya Mataji, I would like to start by greeting those seated on the dais, and we have got really a very inspiring presence here today from very renowned speakers from all over the world, and I am most delighted actually for the students of Dev Sanskriti Vishwavidyalaya, also for the faculty of Dev Sanskriti Vishwavidyalaya, who are getting the opportunity to learn really from the best of the world. And we have got speakers who among themselves are institutions. You know, all of them are so learned, all of them are so knowledgeable, all of them are so perfect in their own disciplines that it would be a challenge for us to introduce all of them. And this conversation, I really want it to be an interactive one. I would request all the students that the way we have devised this kind of presentation, we have got 2 panel discussions. So I would introduce the first 4 speakers right now, and then we would like to have a discussion with the speakers. We would like the students to actually interact with them, because they are actually going to present some remarkable themes to you. And if all students can interact in terms of asking the questions, looking for the answers, and thinking about something valuable for the future, then I think this would be really good, not only for their own personal and professional development, but for the comprehensive development of all the university profile. So before I actually introduce all the speakers here, I would like to actually set the theme that why we have got this plenary scientific session here, and to share the concept behind that. I would like to share a small story with you, and this story actually comes from a epic ever written in India, greatest epic ever written in India, called Mahabharata. And Mahabharata entails a story between between 2 sets of brothers, Kauravas and Pandavas. Kauravas, children of Kuru, Dhritarashtra, and Pandavas, children of Pandu. While Pandavas always followed the path of dharma, righteousness, what was good, what was right, Kauravas did their best to do everything adharma. They did their best to do what was wrong, what was evil. And one day, Vidura, who was the uncle of both sets of brother, he asked Duryodhan, who was the head of Kauravas, he said, why? Why, your brother, Yudhishthir, he always does the right thing. Hamesha sahi karta hai. He is doing what is the path of dharma. And you are always doing what is immoral, you are always doing what is evil, you are always doing what is wicked. What is the reason? You both went to the same school. You both have got the same, same sets of relationships. आपके चाचा भी वही हैं, मामा भी वही हैं, एक ही स्कूल में गए. You got the education from the same person. But he is doing right, you are doing wrong. Why? And Duryodhan said, Jana pe dharmam nach me pravritti. I know what is right, don't want to do it. जाना पे धर्मम नच में प्रवृत्ति, जाना पे अधर्मम नच में निवृत्ति. आज जानता हूं कि क्या अधर्म है. I know what is wrong, don't want to leave it. I know what is wrong, don't want to do it. I know what is wrong, don't want to leave it. केनो पे देवेन हृदय स्थितेन यथा नियुक्तोस्मि तथा करोमि. ऐसा लगता है कि कोई अंदर आकर के बैठ गया है और जहां मुझे नियुक्त कर देता है वो करने के लिए मैं बाध्य हो जाता हूं. It seems like somebody is sitting inside me, and wherever he appoints me to do, I feel obliged to do it. I think that I have to do that thing. And that is the story not only of Duryodhan, but I think the story of 90% people on this planet. Everyone knows what is right, everyone knows what is wrong, but somehow we always choose the path that would take us to the abyss of decline, that would take us to the depths of decline. And I think that's where the yoga come into the picture, because every human being have got these 2 sides of the personality. A part of us is so mortal, so perishable, so destructible, full of ego, primal passions and desire, and other is immortal, other is imperishable, other is divine, other is eternal. And this journey from Duryodhan to Yudhishthir, from Kansa to Krishna, from Ravana to Ram, is the journey of a yogi. This journey can be achieved when we have got absolutely sound, comprehensive, holistic understanding of the yoga. And the understanding of the yoga, you either read Patanjali or you read Krishna, but you would find that in their opinion, yoga is a science. Many people think it's a clinical premise, and I think for clinical premise, you need to work on an understanding that people have got a disorder. जब तक कोई बीमारी नहीं होगी, तब तक आप स्वास्थ्य की कल्पना नहीं कर सकते. And that is not the concept that Patanjali has. If you want to compare Patanjali with anyone, you have to compare Patanjali with Einstein, because he is a scientist. He is saying anything with absolutely no confusion. He is giving the statement that if you do it, then you would get this result. There is no confusion in his mind. Ritam bharacha pragya, doubtless knowledge. That is what he is talking about. And that is why we have got this session. We have got this session so that we can learn from the personalities, different parts of the world, different perspective, but they all are giving a very scientific understanding of the concept of yoga, holistic health and Ayurveda. So I am sure that not only we are privileged to have them, but all of you are absolutely privileged. You all are so lucky to have such kind of speakers here. So I'm going to introduce now the first panel of speaker. We have got Professor Valdis Pirags. Professor Pirag, apart from being a very close and dear and very strong friend of us and Dev Sanskriti Vishwavidyalaya, he is a very renowned man. He is the head of the Medical Council of Europe. He is also the head of the Medical Council of Latvia. He is the head of the biomedicine project of the National Biomedicine Project of Latvia. A very learned man, but he developed his affection for Ayurveda and holistic health. Coming from modern medical background, he developed this kind of respect for the Ayurveda. So he's going to talk about how these two disciplines can be merged together, and I'm sure that would be a benefit to everyone. Then we have got Ira. Ira has got a very long association with us, going back I think 5 years now. And Ira, those days used to work as a film actress, and then she then changed the discipline, started to write, and became a very successful author. Yesterday, Ivis, who is also a very good friend and another speaker, he mentioned that about 2 weeks ago he just finished reading the book of Ira, and he was surprised to see Ira here as the speaker. So Ira is a film actress as well as novelist, accomplished writer, and she was the person behind the International Yoga Day. Then we have got Ivis here, a very good friend again. He is the Deputy Ambassador of Latvia. We met under most unconventional circumstances and became good friend. He is currently, he is the IFS equivalent in Latvia, and a very genuinely good man here. So you would get good chance to actually hear from him. And then we have got the last speaker for the first session as Professor Sigma Ankrava, who actually is the heart and soul behind all the collaborative efforts that we have taken here to establish the Center for Baltic Culture and Studies. She was the first person ever to visit from Baltic nations here, a very renowned professor from University of Latvia, and then also a very successful professor of Indology in Riga. And now she is, by divine intervention, here in India, not only supporting the Latvian embassy in Delhi, but also supporting Dev Sanskriti Vishwavidyalaya in many pursuits. So we have got 4 speakers, and Professor Harsha, sorry, I missed actually introducing Professor Harsha. Professor Harsha, she's a medical doctor, and she's medical doctor by background, but she's the head of the European Ayurvedic Association, and very renowned person, absolutely genuine gem, and she's very learned person also. So Professor Harsha is here, and we are so privileged to have these 5 speakers here after they have completed their sessions. And I would request all the students particularly pay as much attention as you can pay, because this is the only session we have arranged where you would get the chance to directly interact with all the distinguished speakers. And after that, I'm sure that you would have questions, then feel free to ask directly to them with the help of our anchors here. Thank you.
Now, we would like to listen to our very first speaker of this plenary session.
It's time to listen to Professor Valdis Pirags. Valdis Pirags is an MD, Professor of Medicine at the University of Latvia and head of the Clinic of Internal Medicine in the Clinical Hospital of Riga, Latvia. He was leading the research on main disease affecting the life quality and life expectancy of the Latvian population in 2006 and 9. Currently, the Latvian National Research Program in Biomedicine and Public Health since 2009. He is the past president of the Latvian Association of Endocrinology and the past president of the Baltic Society, one of the founders and board members of the European Society of Endocrinology. Please put your hands together to welcome on dais Professor Valdis Pirags.
Most respectful Vice Chancellor, most respectful Pro-Vice Chancellor, dignities, dear friends and colleagues. This morning I will focus my talk on a simple question: how to design clinical studies. And since the topic of this meeting is yoga, culture and spirituality, you may wonder why I will focus on Ayurveda or Ayurveda, but there is no controversy in fact, because in my understanding Ayurveda is just a medical part, medical side of the yoga. And yoga and Ayurveda are two parts of one. First of all, the best greetings from Director of the University of Latvia, Professor Indriķis Mužnieks, who is recently elected. And this is the main building of the university, and you see how nice and old, classical building it is. And the spirit of the university is also quite classical. And we are proud to be among the 700 best-rated universities in the world. And this is the new academic center for life sciences, which is inaugurated just 1 month ago. And here you see the picture from a very nice event which happened 2 years ago, when the previous rector of the university, Mārcis Auziņš, signed the agreement, MOU, with Dev Sanskriti University in person of Pro Vice Chancellor, Mr. Chinmay Pandya. And this event was also connected to another great event, opening of the Latvian University Center of Indian Studies and Culture, led by Professor Sigma Ankrava, and she will deliver a speech later on. And this is the first batch of students which finished our Ayurveda study course, 360 hours, both at the University of Latvia and in India, practical part in India. And we had more than 40 students, and approximately 30 of them completed their practical part in Mangarai in Tamil Nadu just two months ago at the end of August. So this is the university hospital I'm working in, and you see how beautiful are the trees during Latvian winter. And it seems to be that the climate in Latvia is pretty close to the climate in upper Himalayas. And currently we are focusing on research plan how to really to compare the healing properties of the original Himalaya plants and analog plants which are living in Latvia. And it seems that there should be some major complementarities. So we conducted more than 75 randomized controlled clinical trials since 1999. And although we have a very small team, we are very focused and successful at the end. And you see how the numbers are growing, and all those trials are multicentric, international, and all of these trials are ending with high level publications. But my question for today are, do we need similar clinical trials in Ayurveda? And what should be the study hypothesis? What outcomes should we measure? And what is the optimal design of the study, which is the main question of this lecture. And if we compare how the drugs are developed in the Western medicine, which in fact are single molecules, similar to minerals in Ayurvedic treatment. And the Ayurvedic medicines, which can be herbs, which can be animal products, which can be minerals as well, and metals as well. And the life cycle of the Western medicine drug starts with a lab, with preclinical testing mainly on animals and tissue cultures. And then we go to phase 1, to phase 2, phase 3, sometimes phase 4 trials on patients and healthy volunteers. And it should to end, it's expected to end with a review and approval of state authorities. In the United States and I think also in India, it's called the Food and Drug Agency. And it takes in average 16 years in the Western biomedicine. But now the question is how long does it take to test, to find and test the Ayurvedic drugs? And this is my estimate. It takes several hundred years. And if you compare how many different plants, herbs, minerals, metals, animal products are screened, my estimate is more than 1 million has been screened long ago. And then several lakhs of them are tested, and probably 10,000 or so are selected for clinical use. Currently, no approval in the Western world as a medical products. Only as a food supplements are the usage of Ayurvedic medicines are approved as a food supplements. And I don't think that this is a natural situation, and especially because currently the Ayurvedic formulations are very rapidly changing, and you see we are not using anymore so much kashayas and other decoctions. We are formulating them more like pills, tablets, extracts. So there is currently a need to evaluate this understanding. How should we should we design studies in Ayurveda? We are not in empty place. In fact, recently there was a publication, actually not recently, 10 years ago, in Cochrane Review. And Cochrane database is the larger database on published clinical trials. And it appeared that 10 years ago there were more than 4,000 randomized trials for various complementary and alternative medicine therapies. And what revealed the analysis of those 4,000 randomized trials? Possible positive effect was observed in 37.2% of them, likely to have no effect only in 4.8%, likely to be harmful only in 0.69%, but insufficient evidence more than half, 56.6%. And it seems to be somehow disappointing if we see especially this number. However, if we compare with the analysis, current analysis of 1,016 systematic reviews of Western randomized clinical trials made in 2007, then you see actually that the picture is not so bad for complementary and alternative medicines, because possible positive effect appeared to be in 44.5% 4%, likely to have no effect in 0.98%, likely to be harmful in 7%, which I think you see the comparison, and is insufficient evidence also in 47.8%. So the picture is not so pessimistic. So the first thing I want to focus in my thought process, what is the difference between traditional Ayurvedic drugs and modern pharmaceuticals in Western biomedicine? Those are pictures from internet showing typical how we understand typically Western medicines. Western medicines, most of them are larger or smaller molecules, single molecules with known chemical structure. Many of those drugs have a very complicated peptide structure, and then they have to be injected, like insulin, like growth hormone, etc., or so-called biologics, which made a revolution in rheumatology and treatment of autoimmune diseases, so-called monoclonal antibodies. And another interesting fact is that we more or less know how those molecules act, on which receptors, what are the signal cascades they are activating, and what are the outcomes in different organs. Here you see traditional picture which is showing the content of Ayurvedic drugs, in this case encapsulated Ayurvedic drugs, which are originating from several plant or animal products, minerals. So this is a combination of molecules, and not just simple combinations, very complicated combinations with probably several thousands of active compounds. And the interaction is very complicated between the human regulatory systems, our own body, and those components in those very complicated drugs. Those are cells, and you see many receptors, and those drugs are interacting not with just single receptor. They are on the same time simultaneously reacting, activating, or inhibiting many receptors and many signaling pathways on the same time, on different levels, starting from genomic level, transcriptomic level, proteomic level, metabolomic level, and phenomic level. So that gives us idea how complicated it is, and we understand how difficult is the task we are facing now. And therefore, new branch of science, which is called systems biology, appeared, which is utilizing the very powerful tools like bioinformatics to analyze those very extremely complicated processes which are going on in our body when we are taking herbs and Ayurvedic medicines. So the interactions are really on systemic level, and I just took one similar picture, how interaction between human and computer, but we can extrapolate it also to the interaction between human organism and a plant. And it is called information fields. So this is the interaction between two information fields. So nutraceuticals are herbal drugs containing a natural combination of biologically active substances which has had allowed to sustain the life cycle of the plant. And Ayurvedic drugs act as molecular nutrients for different organs and tissues, and their action is explained more on nutrition dynamics than on actual pharmacodynamics. This is a citation of this very interesting book. I recommend to read all of you. This is Professor Singh from Benares Hindu University.
Thank you, professors, for enlightening us with your words. Moving on next, our next presenter is Ms. Ira Trivedi ji.
Ira Trivedi ji is the best-selling author of What You Would Do to Save the World, The Great Indian Love Story, and There Is No Love on Wall Street. Ira ji's books have been published by leading publishers like Penguin and Elf and have been translated into several languages including Hindi, Marathi, Malayalam, Greek. Ira ji's contribution to a wide variety of publications including Foreign Affairs, Hindustan Times Branch, Forbes, Outlook, Daily News Analysis, The Asian Age, The Telegraph, amongst the many others. She is regularly invited to speak to students, youth groups and corporates across the country. She is graduated from Wellesley College, Massachusetts, USA with a BA in Economics and gained her MBA from Columbia Business School, where she won the prestigious Fredberg Fellowship.
In addition to her career, as she is a writer, Ira ji is also a certified yoga trainer. So in coming 15 minutes, let's learn from Ms. Ira Trivedi ji. Put your hands together to welcome on dais Ms. Ira Trivedi.
जो ये योग होता है वो उसका मतलब मैंने सीखा आश्रम में कि उसका मतलब होता है यूनियन या जोड़ना, पर मुझको जो लगता है कि जो योग है ये इसका ट्रू मीनिंग ये है कि हम अपने इस योग को यूज़ करें अपने शरीर को और शरीर और आत्मा के माध्यम से हम लोग ऊपर उठें, अपने कॉन्शियसनेस को ऊपर उठाएं. पर इसका फर्स्ट स्टेप जो है वो ऑफ्टन फिजिकल फॉर्म में होता है और वो योग आसन होता है. and I really congratulate all of you young people here कि आप योग को आपने इतने अपने ज़िंदगी में seriously लिया है. and in many ways I'm very jealous of you all कि आपको इस एज पे इतनी अच्छी अपॉर्चुनिटी मिली है योग सीखने के लिए, योग करने के लिए. and I do hope you continue on this journey of yoga. It is a very, very beautiful journey and you're all very lucky to have it and be in such a wonderful institution. And again, if I can be of any help in that journey, I'm available on Facebook, on Twitter, on email, to any student of Dev Sanskriti Vishwavidyalaya. So on that note, thank you very much. I'm looking forward to answering questions later.
Thank you so much, Ira ji. Thank you for telling us that how yoga, sports, book reading leads us to developing confidence, developing leadership and self-rejuvenation, physical fitness and ultimately to spirituality. Thank you for sharing such beautiful, fascinating life story.
Our next speaker is Mr. Ivis Klavanskis. He has studied in England and has also cleared administrative services. He is the Deputy Ambassador, Embassy of Latvia in India.
Please welcome Mr. Ivis, sir.
Thank you. Distinguished guests, fellow students of Dev Sanskriti University, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to thank my dear friend Dr. Pandya, Chinmay, for his hospitality and also the friendship that he has extended throughout the last couple of months that I've known him. The first time I met him was in Riga during the Scientific Network, where many of the delegates today were also present then. But it gives me a great pleasure that it's already my second time visiting the campus since end of May. Indeed, this place has a very special ambience and peaceful environment that gives a chance to explore the ways how to integrate education, how to make it more holistic, and bring the spirituality into it. And in my interaction with the people here on the campus, I noticed also that there's plenty of examples how knowledge can be transformed into wisdom. Unlike the guests in a panel today, I'm just at the beginning of my journey to become a master yogi. That's why I will focus mainly on bilateral relations between Latvia and India, and I will try to bring in some examples of yoga in it. However, there's a huge scope for increasing these relations. This includes continuous actions for improvement of scientific activity, some examples we saw already today, development of necessary R&D infrastructure, creation of conditions for improved technology transfer, and expansion of innovative and technology-oriented companies. Throughout activity in establishing or strengthening ties between both countries, what we observe that there's, despite all these benefits, there's still lack of awareness. And I would like to encourage, and we definitely support the initiative of Dev Sanskriti University to launch the first ever Baltic Studies and Cultural Center on. Yes, it's definitely an effort worth supporting, and we are committed to make these great ideas a reality. It will be an excellent platform to create a knowledge, resources, and further generate further partnerships. Now, looking more to the recent past, this year has been a very special for Latvia-India relationship. In the first half of 2015, Latvia as a presiding country of EU Council put additional effort to bridge Asia-Europe cooperation. There were 2 sectoral summits organized in Riga for education ministers and also for transport. In the beginning of the year, we opened the Latvian embassy in New Delhi. And since we are mentioning yoga throughout this week, I would like to also share that we have regular classes of yoga at our embassy, and me and most of my colleagues, like our novelist Ira Trivedi, cannot imagine starting a day or sitting at our desk without a good stretch. And beyond that, I think as someone who in his professional capacity follows the India's foreign policy, it is obvious to me and to my colleagues that your Prime Minister's Narendra Modi's decision to, at the last UN General Assembly, to launch International Yoga Day was embraced all across the world, including in Latvia, and some of the activities we had a chance to explore. I already mentioned the opening of the Latvian embassy. This is just yet another nodal point to the ones already existing. The Center of Indian Studies and Cultural in Riga and the Study in Latvia Center in Chennai. I'm sure that the further work on the Baltic Studies and Cultural Center at Dev Sanskriti University will facilitate the cooperation among all of them. I believe that examples mentioned before is an excellent foundation upon which to expand the bilateral trade, people-to-people contacts, relations between academic institutions. On this note, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ives, for sharing some valuable pieces of information.
Professor Harsha Greimanger, I would like to call on stage. President of European Ayurvedic Association, EUAA, Germany. She has studied human medicine and did graduation as medical practitioner. She has done education as Ayurvedic therapist in Italy, India, Ayurvedic Royal Estate College, and in Germany. She has done her further education in psychotherapy and yoga massage Kusum. She is also General Manager of Euroved Academy, Clinic and Company. She is President of EUAA, that is European Ayurvedic Association, close cooperation with Dr. Vasudhaiva Ayurvedic Institute, Albuquerque.
Please put your hands together for Professor Harsha.
Dear Vice Chancellor Mr. Party, dear Vice Chancellor Mr. Chinmay Pandya, thank you so much for the invitation. I'm very happy to be here. Dear audience, dear family members and friends, I'm really very, very happy to breathe the air of this campus, to see you all with your smiling faces and with your open heart on your way towards yourself. So I'm very pleased to make this presentation now. So I would like to share you my path which I walked when I was at medical school. So I have asked myself, how does a disease appear? Why we get sick? How can we see it? Does the disease happen in the body alone? Does it happen in the mind? So what I learned at medical school was actually when there is a disease manifested, it is a real disease. If people came and complained about some symptoms and signs and symptoms which was not visible to us, we thought it was a psychosomatic disease. And we thought these people might be a little bit crazy. So nowadays this all has changed. So we discovered more in the body, and we discovered even that some disease appear from the guts, from the inflammation of the guts. And then we can develop chronic disease. So we are a little bit further, we're a little bit more open. We know that the mind is not crazy if the disease is not yet seen, visible to us. The same thing I was asking myself, what is a proper cure? So if we know where the disease comes from, we might be able to see what is a proper cure, what heals us really. Is it the surgery? Is it the normal medicine? Is it some herbs? Is it chemotherapy? Is it a certain diet? This all is available in Western countries. So we try to figure out what is the real cure. So people come and don't know. The patients come, which kind of cure should I choose? Should I choose when I have a tumor? Should I choose chemotherapy? Should I do something else? So these are all questions which are coming up in my daily practice. So if we are unable to feel love and compassion, and we know our world in the West is pretty much inside the mind, we are running and running, we don't connect with our hearts. So sooner or later, we develop heart attacks, heart disease, arteriosclerotic changes. So how do we get the screen empty then? We need to empty our screen, which is the reason why we develop the disease. You all know that you are here, you're on your path of spirituality, to connect with your inner self. So we have to live here and now. And how do we do it? We start to witness. We start to witness that we are not the body, that we are not the mind and not the emotions. This is the only way out. So you all know that you experience this day by day with doing yoga and meditation. So what we do in the West now, people are far away from their spiritual track. So we get the doshas balanced, status built up properly, srotas cleared, and waste products properly eliminated. What I recommend in the practice, do a little bit of pranayama, because people don't have time. They're already running in the morning, have a cup of coffee and run for the office. So I tell them, look, like just 10 minutes of pranayama and your life gets better, you get more balance. You have more oxygen supply. So I use this kind of vocabulary just to give them a reason to do it, because they don't know they have to reconnect with their soul. They are not aware of that. But when I tell you can think better, you function better, then they will do it. So with the, what happened now? With the 10 minutes of pranayama, we can have the pranavaha srotas cleared and the manavaha srotas. And we can do meditation 1 hour a day. Almost nobody does it for my patients. myself, I'm trying to keep the hour. So it is very difficult because they are always in a rush. They are always running, just witnessing the thought. That's it. After the thought process ceases, we all know that here, but we don't know that in the West, and we have to take it there. So the spiritual healing approach, yoga and meditation are now more recognized. We have heard from Mrs. Trivedi that in India it is not so popular. I can say in Germany it's very popular. In every village we have a yoga center. Everywhere they practice yoga now. They do it for their fitness of body, but they do it.
The theme is already set. I just wanted to thank everyone, all the speakers from the first session. Starting from Professor Pirag on behalf of Dev Sanskriti Vishwavidyalaya, because that was a remarkable presentation. A very good presentation actually, how these two disciplines, Ayurveda and the modern medicine, they can work together. And then Ira also, she shared her personal journey with us and what actually brought her to yoga. Then we had Ivis talking not only about the yoga but also about that how Dev Sanskriti Vishwavidyalaya can contribute in establishing the Baltic Center Culture and Studies and how we can strengthen the ties between India and the Baltic nations. And then we had a very good presentation, very good clinical presentation from Professor Harsha. So first of all, thanks to all the speakers from panel 1.